Welcome back, everybody, to another segment of Iconic Convo with
Diamond.
and Dejan Talks. So listen, spring is here,
Uh, somewhat.
pollen season, sneezing season,
Yeah, I guess.
allergy season is back in full effect.
Not happy about that for sure.
You must be one of those people that don't like spring.
Oh no, I love spring, but I just can't deal with the
I
whole
thought you're an
allergy
island girl.
thing.
You're supposed to be used to this stuff.
Yeah, I wasn't like this until I
You became
came here to the U.S. Americanized.
Yeah, you became Americanized. I got you. So listen, today we have another amazing show for these people, and it's actually one of those subject matters that's
Near and dear to our hearts.
near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
How'd you know? How'd you know?
Because like mine's,
Oh
I
man,
tell you,
I guess
it's
so.
all
I
about
guess
the
so. I guess so. I
mindset.
guess so. So we
Isn't
have a
that right?
so this special guest. I would love to do the honor of introducing her.
Yes.
However, I think you are more qualified because you seem to have a more diverse background in the resume of this prestigious, beautiful woman that we have with us.
Oh,
So have at it.
absolutely. Well, we're going to let her delve into that on her own.
Okay.
However, our wonderful audience, we welcome Dr. Amber Lyons to Iconic Convo. And she is known as Queen of Smooches.
Okay.
Yes. Welcome, Dr. Amber. How are you today?
Oh, thank you so much for having me, for being here on Iconic Convo. I
Yes.
was like, that's dope. We're going to have some good conversation. It's got to be
Absolutely.
iconic. So
Yes.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the
Anytime.
credit for the name goes to this one. I
No,
would love to take credit.
it was
However,
teamwork.
she she
Teamwork.
she, she
Yeah,
said
dream work, right?
Absolutely.
that was her. So I looked over your website and I saw some very interesting stuff that you're doing in the community. I'm huge on humanitarian work. I'm huge on activism. I'm huge on God,
Youth,
and
youth,
I'm
youth.
huge on mental health. These are some of the subject lines that seems to be very close to you. So, quickly, for the people that's never heard of you, that don't know you, give us a quick background. Who are you? What do you do?
Well, as the Queen Michelle has already said, I am Dr. Amber Ann Lyons. I'm the founder and CEO of From Pain to Purpose Incorporated,
Yes.
In the
which is a
purpose.
domestic violence and teen dating violence advocacy organization.
Mhm.
That's what was birthed as to give a voice to women and children suffering in silence, first with domestic violence. Teen dating violence was added years later. It was actually birthed in Brooklyn, New York, where I'm from.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
I knew it. I saw that come from a mile. The moment you said New York, I looked over
I was
because
like,
I knew it was coming. I knew it
New
was
York's
coming.
in the house.
Yes,
I get a
so
bunch of northerns over here.
and God relocating me here in 2011, July 2011, and starting the work. Actually, in moving here July 2011, our first event was a film screening on domestic violence called "Telling Amy's Story,"
Wow.
and that was in October.
Mm,
So
that was,
you talk about hitting the ground
yeah,
running. We had our first event 3 months after
relocated.
relocating here, and we have been going ever since. Just
Yes.
planting seeds, and domestic violence and teen dating violence. We begin to see the need for teen dating violence. We begin to partner with some larger
Yes, you
organizations like
did.
Partnership Against Domestic Violence, the Georgia Coalition Against Domestic Violence, churches, businesses, schools. We worked for several years in DeKalb Early College Academy, mentoring some of the young people, putting on our healing pain through the arts teen spotlight, open mic. It was an open mic night at that time, and that's where our teen spotlight awards was birthed, where we
Yes.
honor young people in the community who had overcome adversities and life challenges, but was using their gifts and talents to inspire others. So it's blossomed into, and then God birthed our Healing Pain Through the Arts youth program, where we use the arts as a cathartic tool to be able to help our young people have a voice, teach them how to have a healthy voice.
Yes.
And we've
So
worked very
important.
heavily in the entertainment industry with
Whoop,
my
whoop.
son Saint Even, who was back then Slate. He's a rapper, artist, actor,
Yes.
graduate of Kennesaw State University, and with his degree in theater. vision to be able to see him use his music to be able to help heal pain, his pain, other people's pain, be an inspiration to be able to write your story on the canvas of life and for people to draw from it what they could. So
Phenomenal.
he's worked with me in my organization, my business, my
Light
ministry
awards, yes.
from the beginning.
Yes.
So we've toured together. We've been all over. He's performed all over. He's spoken, at different places, and he's a very integral part of what we do today, embracing mental health. Our Cope to Hope program is our most recent program that God has given to me, and is a vehicle to be able to. It's called Cope to Hope. Youth and young adults mental health matters too, because we began to see during the pandemic that the young people, they didn't really have a space to talk about COVID,
Correct.
how it affected them. Everybody was so busy just trying to live, trying to transverse during this time of darkness, wearing masks, being isolated. The kids were kind of getting left behind. Nobody was tapping into the fact that they were taken out of school and in the home, and some homes had domestic violence, and their escape was being in school. They didn't have an escape then. So, we began to see that the mental health of our young people was something that we needed to bring to the forefront. Cope to Hope, and we can talk about that a little bit more as you
So
desire.
we're gonna unpack. You unpacked a lot. You're definitely a speaker. And I give you a little briefing room, you're gonna go. I'm watching you.
I know.
I'm gonna start doing this to you.
He's
I'm watching you.
insane. Don't let him
I know
fool
me, and I'm
you.
looking at the mirror. I'm gonna have to do.
I know. Like, wrap it up.
Chop,
Wrap it up.
chop.
Yes. No.
I'm playing with
listen,
you.
I get
You're a
it.
speaker. All right. So we're gonna have to unravel this. So I'm a cook.
Okay.
And you just give me a big onion with a whole bunch of layers.
Definitely.
We gotta start unraveling this thing, right? So let's create a foundation.
Okay.
So people can understand everything you said, because you said a lot of amazing things. However, we want to make sure they capture what you said, right?
Okay.
So it's one thing to say something, capturing it is completely different thing, right?
Correct.
Cognitive, trying to retain as much as we can get. Okay.
Can we start with the Spotlight Awards?
I mean, we can, but I would love to start if you don't mind,
Sure.
because that transitional story was dope, right?
Okay.
I want to know what was the foundation for even starting this. What was the seed that was planted? Because a lot of people that I've met that embark on these journeys can look in the mirror. Right? So this is why I want to start there. I apologize.
Oh no,
We're going to get to the spotlight.
I like it.
Right?
I like it.
But we got from the
Continue.
shadow, nothing in the dark. Must
Why
come to
do
light.
you do what you do?
Continue.
Right? Right? So
Continue.
everything in dark must come to light. But sometimes we go through dark seasons that encourage us to plant seeds, because maybe, I don't want to say we're stronger than other people, but that purpose was built in us a little bit earlier. I use that transition. Let's start with the basic.
Okay.
That seed.
The why.
The
Ah,
seed
you know what I'm
was
saying. Go
the
ahead.
seed was as a client of the New York City Family Justice Center under the umbrella of the mayor's office to combat domestic violence. I was one of their most successful clients.
See? Look at that.
They
I would never got
saw
that.
they saw in me something. I just wanted to help and give back. I became a volunteer after I got all of my services. My divorce was through them, NILAG. They did my divorce. So they saw in me something more than I saw in myself. They said, you could be an amazing advocate. And they sent me to San Antonio, Texas for 4 days for training. And we trained with all branches of the world. The law enforcement, the judicial, where people represent domestic violence victims, advocates, and that's really where From Pain to Purpose was birthed. God birthed that in me then. And so...
So this is not just a passion. It's more than a passion. We're going to call it
it's
for
a
what it is.
ministry.
Let's call it a spade, right? We're going to call it for what it is. This is a little bit more than a passion. Because you just showed me it's more than a passion. I can see it in your eyes right now. Don't you cry on me. Nah, I'm just playing. Cry on you, right? But I can see it.
Yes.
Right? I can see, now I'm really seeing that emotion. I'm not getting the pitch now. I don't want pitches. We're not doing business. I want emotion from you, right? And I see it, right?
Yes.
So, because a lot of times we have aspirations to help people, right? And one of the biggest issues is we can't relate. You know that. Thus, the work becomes ineffective.
Yes.
You know that. It's not that the intention is not good. Well, we all got good intentions.
Correct.
I got good intentions. But it's like me, going into an environment or a home that is not relative to what I've known all my life and trying to create an impact from something that I have no understanding. But just because I have the desire to create an impact, my impact is going to be very minimal.
Yeah.
However, when I can relate, the message becomes clear because I know who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
I know the trauma that I'm looking at. I know the trials and tribulations that I'm going to overcome.
Yes.
I'm not just speaking motivational, roses are red, you got this, I believe in you,
Right.
pray, go on your prayer. I'm not doing that. I can actually hold your hand. So that seed you planted, the only reason you were able to plant it because you know how to walk that path because you live a certain path. When they believed in you, and I'm gonna let Michelle take over. When you went through your transition, somebody believed in you. This is a pivot in channel movement. See, I'm not gonna let nobody overlook anything that you just said. Right? We're gonna dive into this because some people will hear you and they'll be like, okay, well they believed in her, and that means a lot at this stage of your life. See how I'm looking at it? It's not just somebody believed in you.
Right.
All right, go ahead and go out there and go get this and go get that.
No,
It's the mindset in the time of your life that this occurred.
right.
A
And
dark time.
A dark time,
You
which is where I'm
understand me?
coming from because she said, if we can, and we may just recap a bit, that it was during your divorce because they actually handled your divorce. So with that, I understand going through a divorce, what that's like, and the mindset to make sure that everybody is the transition is as smooth as it can get.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for them to show you that they had that much faith in your abilities and how amazing you are as a person, how did that help you to move forward from the divorce?
Well, it helped a lot. First of all, I don't think people realize that divorce is like a death.
You
Say
better
that again.
Let me readjust.
Because
myself.
today's society glorifies this 8 out of
do.
10 divorce.
Yes.
8 out of 10 divorce
do.
rate what we got going on right
Yeah.
now. It's a glorified thing
It's,
now.
it's to the point where they enter marriage with an exit plan.
They do. It's a business plan. That's what they identify as.
It's horrible.
For me, it took
Speak about
almost 20 years
it.
to finally make that decision
Wow.
because I did not want to be divorced.
Right.
So I did not, because I was already at a point where, we had separated, a couple of times, been in spiritual counseling, all of that, and nothing fixed it. Because all of that stuff is not going to get fixed unless you do the work.
Yep.
You got to acknowledge there's a problem, acknowledge there's something that needs to be fixed,
Education
and then
without
work on
application.
fixing it. So
Absolutely.
I had to literally be pushed to the place of saying, if you do not do something about this, you may even lose your children.
Speak on it.
That ripped me at my core.
So that was that thing that lit up inside of you when you realized that.
And then also God had to, I remember being on a plane and God had to wake me up and help me to realize that I was truly living beneath my privilege as a daughter of the king. Because you're holding on to this, you don't want a divorce. You don't want a divorce. I was an ordained pastor in my church.
Right.
He was an ordained elder, and I'm not trying to. I don't tell my story a lot because people think that when you tell your story, you mad at the person. No, but the Bible says that they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, word of their testimony, and they love not their lives until the death. So sometimes you got to literally lay your life on the line to help save somebody else.
Exactly.
It's not about hate. I have no ill will, nothing. We're cordial, you know what I'm saying? But this is my testimony.
Tell it.
It's my
Testify.
testimony that I never wanted my work to be my platform. I never wanted my story to be my platform. I wanted the work to be my platform. I wanted to be what I was doing, what God called me to do for the people. But God began to bring me into that place where people begin to say, why are you doing what you're doing?
You're going to get that.
And now it's relatable because, see, you are opening up. So many people that are going through the same things that you have experienced, now it's something relatable. And they're like, wow, if Dr. Lyons can get through that, there's hope for me yet.
Amen.
See, so Continue to shine, Queen. Continue.
Thank you.
So
God be
I
the
love
glory.
that. So in the midst of your dark season,
It was
when-
dark.
when-
She
we
said-
know you
I
had
cried a whole lot of tears. Oh, jeez.
you had so much cataracts you couldn't even see, bro. It was bad. It was bad.
I'm
You
like,
know
Lord,
what?
Them big old dark
Lord,
shades, you know
know.
them old people with them big old dark shades, and still trying to drive. That was her.
Listen.
Listen, it was bad. However, that's the dope thing about my God, right? However, in that season, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Right? So we already know what seasons we're going to be going through. It's not just always prosperity season. There's some dark valleys.
Yes.
There's some valleys in these seasons. Even though they don't preach that no more. Different story. But as you were going through those dark seasons, somebody found light in you
Yes.
and birthed hope in you when you had lost hope. 'Cause like you said, you held on for 20 years. I mean, if that's not dark and you feel like you're losing it all, I don't know what is, right? It's 20 years of work you seen go down the drain that you didn't really, that was not the end game, right? That's not the end game.
Yes.
But then somebody birthed a new purpose. They saw a new vision. They saw a new plan, right? What did you think of that? Honestly, because it sounds good on a resume. It sounds good. Hey, it's all this. They send you to Austin, Texas. Austin, you did this. You did this. It sounds good. However, how did you feel? And then from that situation, how did you get to the situation when you moved down here and really started putting in the work?
I felt honored. I felt
Dope.
humbled that God would use me and take my pain and begin to move it and help, not only to help me to transition to a place of purpose, but to
Everybody
use
heard.
me as a vehicle, as a conduit for
Yes.
others to be able to transform their lives. Because that's why I love, motivational speaking is wonderful, but I've called myself a transformational speaker.
Yes.
Because when we get motivated, we get hyped. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. But then life hits you, and you lose that motivation. But when you're transformed by the renewing of your mind,
What?
you're not the same
Come on,
anymore.
sis. Come on.
So that's what we want people to do. We want people to transform from that place of pain that has them immobilized, that has them stuck, that has them
From pain to
stagnated,
purpose.
to know that God has a purpose for their life.
You better preach.
Sounds like Tony Evans, The Purpose-Driven Life.
Yes, I
man.
love
Dope
it.
book.
But sometimes people can't identify the purpose because that pain is clouding their vision. They haven't even identified
she
the
stepped ahead.
pain yet.
Yes.
We have all kinds of pain. We have phantom pains, stuff that comes back up that we thought was taken care of. We have those pains that are sharp pains that, they come out of nowhere. We have pains that, something might leave a scar. We put a Band-Aid over, we think it's healed, but somebody hit you on it, you realize, no, that is not healed yet. So we have all kinds of pains that we go through, and those pains can literally keep you immobilized in bitterness,
Stagnancy.
bitterness, hurt, unforgiveness. You cannot walk in your purpose walking in
Come on,
unforgiveness.
Deja.
She preaching,
Look,
man.
she
Today
is.
I'm being
Look,
preached
look,
too.
look.
It's refreshing
Preaching
not
to
to
the choir.
preach.
I
It's
love
refreshing
this.
not to
This
preach.
is
It's refreshing to just hear somebody else do it.
You have to forgive yourself.
Yes.
I had to forgive myself because I stayed so long. My children sustained scars.
And that's big of you to identify
Pause there.
that.
There you go. Go there.
Oh,
I had to ask them to forgive me
Hmm.
because they wanted me to leave.
But you wanted to try to make it work.
I wanted God to work my marriage
Exactly.
work.
All right, this is what the Bible says is right. And,
Yes.
sis, so how was that dealing with knowing that the children were against it, and how did that affect them in the long
It affected
run?
them a lot. My son says hip hop saved his life.
That's why I brought you there.
Hip hop's helped save his life. It makes them not trust people. They had to go through their own healing process and still healing in some areas. Come a long way, but still healing in some areas. And the enemy is cunning. He will try to keep you held in that and make you think that you are what you came from, but not so. We denounce all of that. We break those generational cycles. We rebuke all of that because that's not what we want for our younger. And we look at the teen dating violence. The reason why I got involved with with that is because when you look at relationships amongst our teens, our preteens and teens, they're so volatile. These are the folks ain't married. They're volatile. They're putting hands on one another.
Yes.
And I was speaking at a school recently to some sixth, seventh, and eighth graders. And when I began to talk about how it's not just the boys that's putting their hands on the girls, but
Speak
the
on it.
girls,
So
but the
Speak on
girls
it.
are very, very violent, and they will not only
Variety.
cut them down with their mouths, but they'll put their hands up. You should have seen the boys standing up clapping like, please preach in this school.
Speak on it.
Because we think it's just women that, but no, men are abused as well. And our young people, we want them to have healthy relationships, you know, and that's the work of the teen dating violence, educating them on, honey, that what you think he's just so into you is control, it's manipulation, it's intimidation.
Yeah, that narcissistic mindset.
Yes, that gaslighting, making you think it's you that's doing it. All of those things. So teaching them all about those things, the red flags, the things to look for, asking them questions about what they know, and being able to bring a new mindset to them to let them know you are valuable and you're worth it. You're valuable. And a lot of times, even our young people,
Exposure,
Exactly.
more pressure, more peer pressure,
okay,
more challenges,
social media by
more
itself.
body shaming.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
So you said something, and I'm gonna turn it over to Tejan in a moment,
I'm
but
gonna let
it
loose.
hit me.
Through hurt, pain, bitterness. Yes.
You have your seasons.
You go through all the
You're
stages.
human.
Okay.
Yeah, you
We're
go through your
prone to error.
But as my former first lady used to say, I'm better today.
Amen.
You might go through those stages, but don't stay stuck in the bitterness. Get better so that you can be able to not only help yourself. Now, everybody's not going to champion the cause. It's not for everybody to do. Some people are still really literally living in hiding, you know. But when God assignment, you have to know that it's God that's called you to do this so that you can be able to be a voice for him. And it's not just the community locally, nationally, but also globally. Because God, through the pandemic, has taken my work national, from local
Yes.
to national to global.
Absolutely.
Speaking with people all around the world, working with young people all around the world, being able to be a vehicle of hope and inspiration and education, equipping people to know that they can too live a life of purpose. So seeing that value in myself, it came from God, the word of God. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. Yes, other people pouring into me and giving me the opportunity. Not only did they send me to San Antonio, Texas, but they had a whole big gala for Avon, and I was one of the people that they highlighted at that gala because of me, because of my story.
Beautiful.
The Avon Foundation with Mary Kay. That was amazing. So when things like that happen, you know that God has set you on a course to be able to do some amazing thing. Now, I never knew that I would do all the things that God has opened up the door for
I
me
mean,
to
you've
do.
done so much. The Spotlight Awards, and then even becoming an author. Like, tell us a little bit about what pushed you into actually starting to write.
Well, I'm a writer. My son is a writer. I have two daughters. You talking about my son? I have two daughters, an older daughter, and then my baby girl. And then my son is the youngest. But I am a writer, and writing during my dark period, poetry is what helped me. That's the arts. It to be able to pen to paper and to put down some of the things I was feeling. And
So you can do like music, punch people in faces.
No, and that's why I led with that, because I wanted him to
Punch somebody in their face.
because so relatable, and I want
I got introduced to that route. I'm punching people in their face. I ain't playing that
Don't
method.
listen to him. That's not true. It's not.
Well, my son and I, we were co-authors in a collaboration.
Right.
That's
He
dope.
was the youngest author at 20 years old. The book entitled "Wake Up Winning No Matter What," because losing is not an option. And I've co-authored three more books since I've just done my fourth book, co-author book, this past December. So I'm an author 4 times.
I can definitely relate. So I was that teen that you would help today. So that teen that went through those different transitional stages and stuff like that. I was that teen in different areas of my life, right? It just there was no you my days. You didn't exist. There was a lot of outreach for girls, housing outreach, mental health outreach, financial. There was a lot of those. When I looked and seek those things for boys, they were non-existent for boys, right? So my outlook became the streets. I mean, you ain't giving me nothing else. What am I supposed to do? I need protection. I need different resources. I need guidance. I need different things. The streets had those, right? So I had a lot of anger because I didn't understand a lot of what I was going through and why. So me and him used to beef all the time, all the time. It was good beef, but we used to beef all the time. If I had to yell at somebody, he was getting the business. He got it earful from me. If I had to curse at somebody, he got it too. I don't care what I was going through. If I was emotional, he was gonna get everything I had to offer. Who am I gonna give it to? He gotta get it. He wants to be dad. All right, well, dad, you're gonna have to get all this business, right? And then the streets taught me how to tailor my strength. The streets taught me how to tailor my focus, right? The streets taught me how to tailor my money. The street taught me how to tailor my environment. See, the things that people don't understand that you can learn from the streets, right? The streets taught me how to tailor my anger and my like the way I control myself, my demeanor, my poise, my posture, my confidence in the way I walk in the room. That's all street. Whether I have a suit or I'm in gym clothes, the posture remains the same, right? That's the streets, right? But then the streets also taught me, okay, don't back down from nothing. So there's some negative sides to it too. Don't let nobody punk you either. Better teach them who's boss, right? Then I met this old white woman called Dr. Diane Allardyce from Lane University. And I was a freshman in college. And she's like, you got anger issues. I just looked at her. And I used to be very good with a pen, but not for writing, but for drawing.
Okay.
And the way I used to express myself is either I'm going to use these or I'm going to draw. But the things I would draw would be skulls, chains busting out to the skulls, the mouth is screaming. I had to express whatever I was going through because vocally, men, we're not good at that at this stage of our life. I don't know how to verbally express this, but it's in here, but I don't know, because if you try to make me express it, I'm going to be like Tupac, I'm going to curse, I'm going to say everything I'm not supposed to say. I don't know how to verbalize what I was feeling. I just didn't know, right? Yeah. So she's like, have you ever heard of poetry? I'm like, yeah, Tupac. I'm like, of course, that's a poet. What is that? I'm like, you ain't never heard of Words of Moving Towards Concrete? Tupac. So one day she did me like you. She took me to a place, like 50 to 100 old white people. I'm like, why you brought me here? I'm a young black kid. I'm in jeans, do-rag, look like a mini 50 cents out here. Right? I'm in the wrong environment. And I had this song that I had wrote. Because I thought I was going to be the next great rapper. Come on, let's be real. Look at me. Next great rapper. And she's like, go perform this.
To who?
You caught that, right? I just said I'm in a room of like 50, 100 old white people. Alright. It's a grade. I'm going to go up there. And she's my college teacher. Understood anything I said. But they all got up and clapped. 2 weeks later, she came to me with this big poetry book. And then she said, skip to this page. I skipped to that page, and I see my name. Why is my name in a book? Why am I in this book? And every word I said on that stage was in this book, in a poem form. In a poem form. She said, look, this is your work. Now you're engraved in history with all of these other people that wrote in this book.
Wow.
Talk about new collaboration. Then she started working with me on expressing. You know, back then it was just all about rhyming. You know, we had rhyme. I didn't know about expression of emotion because I didn't have that. I had to make it rhyme. So then I started learning about expression of rhyme. What is poetry? She's like, express what you feel. I'm like, how do I do that? That was my next question. And she started working with me. So I've been doing poetry since I was 19.
Wow.
for 2 decades now. That's why she led you to that right now. Just released a book similar to that. And the reason why I like that, because a lot of people don't know how to have outlets, healthy, let me rephrase that, healthy outlets for depression, for domestic violence, for date rape, because we resort to the bottle, anger, suicide,
And other drug uses.
drug usage, right?
Isolation, all of that.
So
Yes.
you understood all of this. You understood all of this. You had the background, you had all of this, but what was the strategic plan? What helped you to say, this is how I'm going to start this?
Everything that I have done has been by faith.
Tell me this word?
Faith, yes.
Oh, okay.
God will give me an idea or birth something within me, and I'll just take one step. And then, like for instance, the Cope to Hope program. That came about not just from seeing what was going on, but in May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So last year, May, I was speaking on a platform, and it was a virtual one, but it was global. And I was asked what's my topic. I said, let me get back to you. And I came up with, just birthed in me, youth and young adults, mental health matters too. So from that, God gave me the word COPE, COPE, and he broke it down as an acronym. So everything that I do, I spoke that word COPE that day, broke it down, how God gave it to me, everything. But after that, I began to see things escalating around me in regards to mental health with some of the young people that we know. And in others, just in everywhere, in the news, people start committing suicide all over the place. Just so much impacting, and God, the program, Cope to Hope, youth and young adult mental health matters too. So I knew that this was bigger than just from pain to purpose. So I spoke with my church youth and young adult ministry called LIT, Living Intentionally Through Tribulations.
Wow.
My oldest daughter, Naquana Thomas, she is one of the co-leads, and my nephew, Christian Buckmeyer, they co-lead that together. And we spoke to them about, and my pastor, of course, about partnering with us to be able to open up a safe space for young people to be able to come in and talk about mental health. To be able to give them a platform.
Very relevant.
To be able to feel safe, to let them know that this space was created just for them, that we see them, that we understand that they are having a difficult time trying to cope. We want to move them from just coping to being able to have hope again. And that is...
I'm going to take over. I got you.
That's one of the ways that you can see how it's, when I say it's by faith, it started out just me speaking on a platform, asking God, what should I speak about? He giving me the topic, then giving me the word cope. Then the cope turned into a whole program. We've had 3 events already, in-person events already, with Cope to Hope. I've spoken virtually in Australia and South Africa. I mean, all over the place.
I saw it on your platform.
You know, and speaking about Cope to Hope and bringing this program it's been all over the world. So you see how
Blessings.
Everything that I have been blessed and honored to do has been by just one step of faith that God put something in me, in my spirit, and I just stepped out.
And it comes to full fruition.
2 things that came to mind when you were speaking. Sometimes we got big visions that look bigger than us.
I felt you tapping me.
Yeah. So sometimes God can give you the vision, you know, and the scripture says, high as heaven is above the earth, so are my ways above your ways, so are my thoughts above your thoughts. So that he's letting you know, I'm a big dude, and you're a little pond, and a small fish, and I got a big ocean out here, right? Sometimes we get visions that looks like they're too big for us. What I liked about what you said, even though the vision was too big, you said, I still took a first step. You couldn't see the whole plan.
Nope.
You let's be real. You couldn't see all of it. right?
She walked by faith, not by sight.
You couldn't see all of it.
Well,
So before I get back on my second point, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and then when I come back, I'm gonna beat you up with my second point. All right, all right. This is dope.
and don't forget to shout out us women because it is Women's Month.
I'm about to get you.
Say Alexa, play Power 108.9. Yeah.
We are back. We are back in Iconic Konvo. We having a phenomenal dialogue with Dr. Amber. You have been schooling us all night. Before we left off, there was 2 amazing points you made. I did not want the audience to miss them. First point was God can give you a big vision. It can seem like it's going to drown you. However, just take the first step.
Yes.
You don't have to see all of the steps, the whole staircase. All right, God, give me the whole blueprint.
Say that.
That ain't faith.
Take that first.
Exactly.
You know, it reminded me of Abraham. Get out your house, man. Get out the crib. Where am I going? I don't know yet. Just start walking. Start walking. You want me to just leave my house and just start walking?
What did he say?
Yeah, walk by faith, not by sight, right? But it's easier said than done until you actually get tested,
Who you tell?
right? Because the faith that's not tested cannot be trusted,
Ooh, you better preach. You
all
better
right?
come on
'Cause
now.
let's be real now. Your faith is this.
But faith also is not just you stepping out there, but resources. That holds people back from doing stuff because they don't have the resources, they don't have the connections,
They don't see
have the
it.
finances. But you just have to continue to. And there's been many years that I carried everything on my own, but you know, it's like you still have to continue to just believe
Push
God
forward.
and do what God has called you to do. And if you touch one soul, see, we want the to be able to reclaim their thought process, reclaim their life, reclaim something that they felt like they were going to throw in the towel. Your work is done. I mean, God has used you.
That's so true, because that one can reach 1,000,000 that you wanted to reach, right? So that's true. The second point I wanted to make, because it talked to me when you said it, because at 15, 16, 17, suicide was like my best friend. The thought of it. We laid together. We embraced each other. We talked to each other. We said, what's going on, champ? You doing it today? Thinking about it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do it today. You understand? There was no outlet either. Remember, we're not allowed to be vocal. If you do your statistics, you're going to find out the average man doesn't understand his value till he's 33. Do the math.
That's Jesus' age.
Isn't that funny, right? That's so funny, 30, right? But the crazy thing about that is the average man doesn't understand his value till he's 33. The average woman is ready to marry at 18, 20. But then the man doesn't even, he's marrying out of purpose, out of obligation. But he doesn't even know his value in that purpose or obligation. So I can understand why we're going to have a lot of issues and failures, right? Because we don't never hear, oh, don't break the boy's heart. That's not a line I ever heard. I don't never hear that line. I don't never hear, don't soak your oats in everything that you shouldn't be soaking your oats in. I always hear hide your chastity, girl, hide your cookies, all your stuff is good. That's what I always say. I never heard about my stuff being good. Ain't nobody ever told me my junk was dope. I ain't know I had King Warriors over here, Michael. Ain't nobody tell me about my King Warriors. Right? I must not be the king of Zamunda because ain't nobody tell me about not soaking in every fountain that I see. Right? So I say that because
I mean, well, you might be the king of what I was, and I don't have the dress. I'm bold. That's the stress that came with mine, right? So I say that because I know what it is not to have an outlet as a teen. I have teens. And recently, my 16-year-old teen had the same situation that I went through. One of his friends in front of him tried to commit suicide. He started having suicide tendencies and thoughts at 16.
Yes.
Now, as a father that loves his children to death like this guy does, this is one of the hardest conversations to have. You know, by the grace of God, he had me, and I ain't have nobody, but thank God he has me. So when I hear you talk about your program,
Never a great conversation.
right, it's
Can I
not.
help you with one thing?
You can always add value to anything I'm saying.
Please say I love them
To life.
Like I said,
Thank
that's
you.
see what I said. You can always add value to what I'm saying. See how I said it? I'll take it.
Love you to
Yeah,
life.
I'll love him to life.
That's my phrase.
Right? I would love him to life. Right? What I loved about what you were saying, the second part, was the fact that the teens really don't have a voice. Because when I try to talk to my son, they don't. When I tried to, he didn't want to talk to me. Although I understood, I saw my 16-year-old self in him. If I put him in front of Michael right now, he'll speak to Michael for hours, but he won't tell me what he's going to tell Michael. Because he doesn't know Michael. There's no love-lost relationship between him and Michael. He's going to talk to Michael about anything. Me, he's just not going to do it. Right? The kids, they're going to resort back to their friends that, unfortunately, they don't have enough wealth in life
Yep.
to be able to provide the sound counsel, because counsel comes from wisdom. Wisdom requires a little bit of life experiences. You know, it's not that their intentions are not good.
Yeah.
It's just it's gonna lack a little bit of substance while they're providing it, unfortunately, right? So what I loved, and I want the audience, I want you guys to hear this. What I love about what she's doing is the fact that you have teens out here that you guys may think you know. You may think your house is peaches and cream, and these kids are smiling in your face, and they're in their room. Everything looks good. But the reason why suicide is through the roof, why cyberbullying is through the roof, why depression is through the roof, because there's a problem.
Listen.
How do you target that problem? How do you draw in your teens?
Well, you target it by creating platforms to be able to give them an opportunity to express themselves.
Yes.
We have our You Speak Out podcast.
Mm.
And we're celebrating.
Oh, look at you.
Yes.
Hey, she has a lot of layers in this onion, boy. Every time she talks, she add a new layer. I'm going to have the biggest onion in the world. I'm going to be cooking for days off everything she says.
My son is one of the co-hosts of the You Speak Out podcast, and I used to host it, and they were my co-host.
Right.
But I stepped back to production during the pandemic when we went virtual. And they actually took the lead. So it's my son, Emmanuel Lyons, my two nephews, Christian Buckmeyer and Andrew Buckmeyer, and a beautiful young lady, Ashton Gates, who they grew up in church with. The four of them are the hosts of the You Speak Out podcast. It's a platform to be able to give them an expressive voice, to be able to talk about whatever. There is no subject that they have not actually kind of touched. Maybe one or two, but they have touched subjects that are taboo because they need to delve into those things. They talked about mental health. They talked about all through the protests and the riots and you know, all of the George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and the Rashad Brooks. They talked about all of that stuff. They went to the protests. So we give them a platform to be able to bring their audience in to hear the voice of the youth.
Yes.
Of the youth, by the youth, and for the youth is You Speak Out podcast. So that's a way that we help them to be able to have a platform. We also create opportunities for leadership success. You know, they've done recently they did a film screening where they actually did red carpet interviews. I mean, they was
that's dope.
Red carpet interviews, cast.
Yes.
You know, I mean
and that brewed and to bring it back from what I wanted to start with, and I love where you started, and I knew that was like a center, and we could actually just
pivot off of it.
exactly. However, we started where we were supposed to, so that was beautiful. So thank you, Dejan. Love
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And what I loved, the Spotlight Awards, I'm gonna bring it back. It started there with the carpets, and then I saw how you just incorporated all of them,
Yes.
the young teens, even the gentleman, the little boy that we had with In the House Media. He came and you allowed him to do the red carpet, and I just thought that was amazing.
Yes.
You know, I was there as a red carpet host as well, but you know, and I appreciate you for having me. But this to me was amazing when I was there. What I saw with
Yes.
how the youth were just so involved. You had them hosting
Yeah.
the event,
That was
and they
Music
did a
Up
phenomenal
Podcast
job.
thing. Didn't they?
Exactly. And my mouth was just on the floor because the way they were speaking
Yes.
and how confident they were, and that
I like it.
was amazing, especially since it was right during the pandemic.
Yes.
And just the level of intelligence spoke volumes. So you're doing
Yes.
an amazing job. Don't think that you didn't, because
Thank
it
you.
reflects.
Thank
and
you.
I witnessed it, and when I was there, it brought tears to my eyes.
Thank you.
I was just like,
Let me see the tears.
Yeah.
It did. Like,
I don't see it.
let me start crying again. Whatever. You know,
Make
what
the
I did.
mascara run.
Michael.
Well, you
Run the
know,
foundation.
That awards, the teen spotlight awards, the Healing Pain Through the Arts Teen Spotlight Awards,
Yes.
was actually, it was birthed in 2014
Yes.
at DeKalb Early College Academy, but it wasn't an award ceremony. It was an award that we gave to a couple of recipients,
Gotcha.
and who had young people who had overcame life challenges and
Yes.
adversities and was using their gifts and talents to inspire others. So when God gave me the actual awards was in 2018, when 2014, 15, 16, we did it at the school with us recipients. And then we had an actual award ceremony in 2018 where we honored 11 young people, and it was the same criteria. But in 20, we skipped 2020, 2019 to 20. We supposed to do it in 2020 because COVID, we couldn't do it.
Exactly.
So we ended up doing it in 2021, but God
Yes.
gave me a different criteria
Yes.
for them being honored. Not just, it wasn't just young people that had experienced life challenges and adversities, but He said, honor them who have remained resilient during the COVID-19 pandemic.
And let me tell you,
I like it.
if you were there, Dejan, you would have.
Well, you didn't invite me, so I don't know how you wanted me to be there. I'm just saying.
And that was the first time that we honored two young ladies
Yes.
who had passed away.
Yes.
Two young ladies whose lives we wanted their legacy to be lived, to their families to know that their loved one's life made a difference. And posthumously we honored them. And one young lady is Arlena Heron. She was a young lady that grew up in our church, and she was taken from us at 21 years old in a head-on collision. And we honored her life.
Yes.
And then the other young lady, her name is Mackenzie Adams, and she's the niece of a very dear friend and entertainment companion and comrade that we worked with for years. She's
A guru.
her 9-year-old niece committed suicide.
Yeah.
So how does a 9-year-old know how to commit suicide?
It's crazy. The thought of a 9-year-old even
Exactly.
thinking about suicide at 9.
We honored her life,
Yes.
and
Had me in
those-
tears the whole
those
night.
everybody was crying.
Yes.
Everybody was crying because we honored young people that were, of course, deserved it, but we wanted legacy to still be a part of this family of these two young ladies. 9 years old
Wow.
and 21 years old. They hadn't started living yet.
Nope.
Wow.
So that in and of itself, the Healing Pain Through the Arts, we try to do it every other year because it's a big thing. So doing it every year is kind of a lot because we have so much stuff that we're doing. So prayerfully we'll be doing it again this year.
And I'll be there.
Here's a challenging
in
question for you.
celebration.
Yes.
I'll be there because she's inviting me. But here's a challenging question for you. As you watch your impact, everything that you've been embellishing on with help, right? How has it impacted you to see the impact that you're having?
Great question.
Well, thank you. I learned.
I'm very, very humbled, honestly, because when I was at the school last Friday, the 24th, it was right before that Sunday I was being honored as a Woman of Honor 2023 honoree. I didn't know they were going to
So
be crowning
right.
us with
Yes.
crowns that day. and I had my own crown on. I was like,
Anytime you came ready?
being crowned with double honor. But when I was at that school, standing before those young people, it's been a minute since I've been in the school because I've spoken at various schools and worked with so many different people in regards to youth. That is like home for me. To be able to impact 12, 13, 14-year-olds. And they were so engaging, receptive to what I had to share with them, because I brought them in. I didn't just stand and speak. This was dialogue. I was teaching and educating, but I brought them into the world of understanding what teen dating violence is, equipping them. And that's just one workshop that we do, but it's so much that God has allowed us to do. It's humbling.
Yes.
But that's my passion. That is the love that I have for. I've worked with young people in various areas for over 30 years. I used to be the praise dance ministry lead at my church, working with young people in the praise dance ministry back in Brooklyn. So I used to teach, on my lunch hour and teach. They called them, impoverished areas or schools. I would go and teach to children, read to them. It was called Learn and Lunch Power Hour or something like that. And I would go and read to them on my lunch. I've been pouring into young people for so many years and my own. But what I want us to remember, if you don't remember anything else I said tonight, is we are all working on becoming, the best at what we do and being, viral and this and that and getting that bag. And sometimes we don't realize how we interact and how we connect and how we treat people. And one of the things that I try to leave with people is no matter what you do and who you're leading, lead with love. Because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's what I told that's the last thing I left with those young people. I'm here because I care. I'm here because you are valuable.
Before we run out of time, we do want to make sure that people know how to get to this young lady.
Yes, and then I have one.
Well, now ask you a question before we run out of time. Before we run out of time, so we're on Toastmasters right now. Each answer is 60 seconds or less.
I can't.
I'm not playing with you. 60 seconds or less, all right? I know you're a speaker. I see it in you. You're definitely. We know you're a preacher too. Them preachers be preaching.
Look at who's talking.
I don't know. I'm looking in the mirror. All right. So, in short, tell the audience what you do, how they can support you, and how they can get in contact with you.
Yes.
Because we all need support.
I am a speaker, transformational speaker, founder and CEO from Pain's Purpose Incorporated. I am a preacher. I am an ordained elder.
Told you.
A leader in my church.
Yes.
A mother and a proud grandmother, mother of 3 amazing adult children and a grandmother of 4. And you can reach me by LinkedIn, linktr.ee/ALYONS, a Lions 63. All of my social media, my website, everything is there. That's Linktree, linktr.ee/A Lions 63.
Amazing.
And you can donate to help.
There we go.
Yes.
We also can get stars on Facebook. You can donate. That is available on Linktree as well to help us with the work.
And before we go, thank you again, Dr. Lyons, for being here with us. And shout out to all the wonderful women out there. It's Women's Month, although we have Women's Month
every day is not Women's Month?
Yes.
Every day?
But before we go, I want you to look at the audience and let them know, and to yourself, when you were in that relationship for 20 years, succumb into whatever you went through, what would you tell that person now?
They're going out to be 60 seconds.
I would tell you to forgive, be healed, and walk in your purpose.
Beautiful. Well, that wraps it up for another amazing segments of Iconic Konvo right here on Power 108.9 with
Diamond and Deshaun Talks. I'm like, why are you looking at me? My name's not Diamond. So listen, guys, we'll catch you every first and third Monday, 8 to 9 p.m. only on Power 108.9, the best radio station in the world. Let's ride. Ba, 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 ba. Do you want a revolution? Yep. We need one.